What's up, y'all? Alright, so I'm at one of my favorite spots. This is a place called Old Town Spring Preservation Park. Generally, this little area is Old Town Spring. This is like kind of the backside. They used to have a thing called the Crawfish Festival here, and a lot of people would just come park back here. And actually, I think there was a carnival or something, or whatever they call it. I like to just sit here, relax, got a little oak tree shade vibe going. Um, like right here's all the little shopping. Some of these old, I think it was a neighborhood, and it's just these old houses that have turned into shops now. It's a bunch of kind of like artsy, crafty type stuff, like uh, maybe a type of stuff you'd see on Etsy.com, and those little shops. They probably sell half their stuff online at Etsy. But anyway, there's a train track right there, the little train yard right down the way. My friend actually owns a house. Actually, he doesn't own it yet, but he's probably going to. But there's a house like right down the way that he's gonna let me rent a room out of. He wanna, I don't know. It wasn't really fixed up. It was kind of, I don't know, a little bit janky, and and then he wanted like to like kind of rent out each room to different people. I didn't know who these other people were, so I was like, I don't know. But it's a nice little area. Um, so anyway, it's one of my favorite spots. What I want to talk about today is history. Or what I want to talk about right now. I'll probably make like 1,000 videos for the days up. But history. I just went to a Goodwill store right down the street. I feel bad because I already bent up the edge of my book here. Just bought it. It wasn't bent when I bought it. I guess I need to handle books better. But cost me $3. The American Story, Volume 1 to 1877, which is right after the Civil War. The thing is, I love history. Why do I love history? There's actually a museum right down the way. I might go there in a little while. I might make a video and everything. But I love history because it gives you a sense of human progress. It helps you understand what is going on now. Like, this is a continuation of what's been going on for, like, really, I mean, it depends where you want to start in history, but you go back literally planetary history, universal history. At least with the United States, like this, the American story starts with the European settlers. There is history well before that with the Native Americans and stuff. And a lot of what we call history, like what we really count, is a lot of like the technological progress or even like social, economic, political progress, where there's certain systems that we create, that help us. It's really like a more cohesive collective organism of ourselves. It's like these evolutionary steps in our collective evolution and growth. And like a lot of the technology we have today. So I'm trying to bend these book edges back out. Oh, hate that. A lot of the technology we have today, like I just came down this road right here. It's kind of like this old country road, but there's like a bridge going over. There's a couple bridges going over it, and they're pretty impressive. And I'm like, they were probably built recently. Actually, I remember I lived in a trailer park. I was like 5 years old, right down the way, kind of like that direction. And I remember when they were building the bridge over the main interstate right down the way. And I remember I walk up to the edge of it, and it felt like the edge of the world. And I was like, just look over and see the cars going by. I was like, wow, like it's crazy. And that's that's my little small world view when I was like 5 years old, and now it's like that's just that little area down the road of this small town, which is just a small suburb of bigger city. Yeah, my worldview's grown. So, but yeah, like a lot of the technology, just the systems and everything, like ways that we function. A lot of it is relatively recent. I mean, a lot of the political system, let's say like democracy, that maybe started a good couple thousand years ago, right? But like really, I would say a lot of the technology, man, it's like the Industrial Revolution, really like right after about 1877, Industrial Revolution. I got to get volume 2 of this book. I might have to go find it somewhere, some used online bookstore or something, because I might read this whole thing. And I've already taken like college courses on this and stuff. I got a pretty good sense of all the stuff. I just want to read this particular book, see what they got to say, if it's anything different or whatever. But a lot of the technological progress is relatively new, like last 300 years, I say. And like it's been like massive like leaps of technological advancement have occurred in the last couple hundred years. And that's like opposed to I think they say humans have been around for like about 200,000 estimated. Written history is only like 6,000 years old, maybe. I don't know. They got some old stuff, various places. How did I say it? Göbekli Tepe, something like that. But Sumerian stuff. But yeah, like ancient Egyptian stuff, where there's like clear written history, probably about 6,000 years. That's how far that goes back. So yeah, within 300 years, even of written history, that's just a very small portion. But like even of human history, even smaller. Biological history, way smaller. Universal history, come on, bro. Like a couple hundred years out of like billions. It's like nothing. It's like we've had some pretty rapid advancement. But the thing is, like a lot of people that exist today, they're just like so in the present. They're like, oh yeah, like, you know, here we are. Like they just grew up. Like a lot of kids that were born 10 years ago, they're 10 years old. They just got cell phones. They just take it for granted, like smartphones. It's like, I didn't have that. I'm 30. I'm 33 right now. We had landlines. And I remember before there was even area codes. Like I remember they came out with the area codes. I was like, whoa, what is this? You gotta put these new numbers out front. I was like, okay, whatever. Then they had caller ID that came out. And then so you knew who was calling, so you like didn't answer if you didn't want to. Remember you picked up the phone, answer, you didn't know who it was before caller ID. You figure out who it is, and then you had to like yell across the house, "Hey, Keith, it's your friend." Like, you know, you had to pick it up, and then when you pick it up, they heard you pick up, and they put down the other phone. That's how it went, dude. And it was cool like that. It was nice. It was humble, and that kind of makes you appreciate like even the little bit of progress that's happened since then. You know. So really, you could take that same concept and just go back further. You know, just by reading and learning about history. And I feel like people need to do that because a lot of people are so just in the moment of like modernity, that means modern. That means the modern situation. For those of you who couldn't, I don't know, sometimes words are confusing like that. But yeah, a lot of people are just stuck in the modern situation, and they don't think back in history. You know what I mean? They don't have a sense of it. They're just like, oh yeah, just here it is, and here we are, and it's like, first of all, how we got here is important. Second of all, it's like this might not even be sustainable. You have to figure out what the current situation is built on. It's like if you go buy a house, you're like, cool, the house is here, blah blah blah, but if you don't have a history of what the weather's been in that area, what literally is underneath that house, like what type of soil, like is it gonna erode, like is it on a stable foundation? It's like you might be a fool just to move into that house and be like, oh yeah, the house is here, we're all good. It's like you have to know what's been going on in that area to have a sense if it's good in that situation. It's the same thing. We got this modern history, like whatever, like we got the modern situation, and then but it's built on the foundations of history, and it's like you have to you have to understand so much like this, and it's changing as well. Like it's still being built as we speak. And like for you to even understand what's being built right now, you have to understand what is being built on. I don't know. My point is, I mean, I kind of do know. My point is, I see a lot of people that are very in the moment of modernity, and it seems like they just take it for granted. They don't. You have to understand history. Because it's an entire system of society that's built upon the pillars of the past. You know what I mean? If you want to call it that, it's metaphorical. Um, it's built on the foundations of everything that came before us. So you want to keep building for one, but also two, if you want to maintain it, and keep the system running good, you have to understand the entire system, which has been built for quite a while. It's not just built right today. No, it's been being built for hundreds and even thousands of years. This is why history is important. You have to understand the foundations of what our modern situation is built on to understand the modern situation in its fully functional form, in its totality, really. And I just think it's critical. It's a lot of people. It's to me, it seems dangerous for people to just be in the moment, not understanding the entire system, that's been being built for hundreds and even thousands of years. If people don't have a sense of the history, the foundations it's all built upon, I don't see them being good, just guardians of the situation, you might say. What's the word for that? There's a nice word that kind of describes that. I'm being distracted a little bit. Some ladies over here that are a bit distracting, but yeah, people. I see it. I see a lot today. I guess I was maybe like that too. I don't know. I'm a learner. Like, I've been that way since I was young. Thankfully, when I was like really young, we didn't have internet, but I did have an encyclopedia set, and I would just bust a random book out, whatever year. I don't even remember how it was categorized. Was it year by year? I think it was. But I'll just bust that out. I just read encyclopedias like all day. It's like a full encyclopedia set. It had its own like shelf, like 30, 40 books. I just bust it out. I just be reading random stuff. Like, so that was over at my stepdad's, and he was a smart guy too. Honestly, I think he had a pretty easy life. From what I understand, he was from a wealthy family. He was raised by his like nanny, which was like basically a maid, and I think he just spent a lot of his time learning himself. And yeah, so he was full of knowledge. He'd always kind of like teach me stuff. I remember that I asked him like random stuff, like, "What does this saying on the dollar bill mean?" He's like, "Oh, he like already knew it and stuff." Smart man, very smart guy. That was my stepdad, and I don't know. So I've always he would bring me around town. He had been around here for a while, and he kind of, showed me the ropes. He'd help me respect history. You know what I mean? Because I think he understood how important it was, and I'm pretty thankful for that. Like, because otherwise I might have been even stupider than I was. You know what I mean? Because when I was young, honestly, you just get caught up with the modern culture. You just want to have fun as a kid and hang out with your friends and this and that. But I think my stepdad kind of like let me know, like, hey, like, you can't just be taking it all for granted, man. A lot of this stuff was built, off the sweat of people's backs that came before you. They had a hard life working to make things work. A lot more challenges than you have today. You can't just take it for granted, man. This is the sweat equity of the people that came before, that you were profiting off of, with your fun, easy going lifestyle. And the thing is, there's no guarantee that it will continue. It has to be maintained. Um, is curator the word? I don't know. Maybe that's the word for it. You know. But people have to basically understand the situation, the pillars that it's built upon to maintain it. It's pretty obvious when you understand that. So anyway, I love history. It feels also the thing about it. It makes everything feel so much more real. You feel connected. It's like a tree, you know. I don't know how to describe it. It has like roots that go like way back in time, and when you connect to that rich history and heritage, you like connect and you feel like a deeper connection through time. Um, and it just makes everything feel like you just appreciate everything that much more. You know, the sweat equity of the people that came before. Um, but you can see it. You can see like how long it took to build all of this. You can understand like where it came from. Like it just I don't know. Do people not instinctively feel the same? Like to me, when I learn history, I'm like, wow, like this is amazing. Like now I see where everything came from, and now I know more about it. I feel like almost like an authority on the subject. I'm like, yeah, like I can like explain it to people later on. Like, oh yeah, this is built from these guys back in the day. You know, here's how they came across this. Whatever. I don't know. I just love it. I love being. It feels like I'm connected, like almost have more of like a right to the current situation because I understand the history of what it's built upon. You know what I mean? Like people that just are here, like floating on the surface, take it for granted, everything that they don't know the history of anything. I'm like, y'all ain't even like respecting the past. Like you feel like the righteous heir almost when you understand and respect history. As like you feel like you're giving credit where credit is due to the people who came before, and you feel like you're more deserving of the inheritance that you've basically inherited. You know what I mean? And it's that's why at least for that to respect the people that came before, which built what exists today. It's just I don't know, man. I see a lot of people today. That's the problem. I see a lot of people that are just taking a lot of stuff for granted, have no respect for the people that came before, all the work they did to build the foundations of what we're continuing to build today. Like you wouldn't have almost anything if it wasn't for all those people that came before. Like Isaac Newton said, all the stuff he was like coming up with, like scientifically, conceptually, he said he was standing on the shoulders of giants. So he was working on top of all the progress that people had made before, and that's basically that's what it is. Not just intellectually, but like you know, uh, infrastructurally. You know what I mean? Like we have, you know, like just the United States, we have like a railroad system, highway system. We have rivers and dams and uh, ways to generate electricity, power grids, shipping channels. Both in the water, on land. Um, it's a whole giant infrastructure that's been built, being built, currently still being built. For the last at least couple hundred years here. Um, and that's not even considering the previous like natural progress. We're just like talking about kind of industrial progress. It's like if you can appreciate that, and I think you should, I feel like it makes you a better, what was that word I used? Um, Maybe custodian, is that the word? Custodian of the past and present and everything. Um, it's important, man. For people to be so modernized and just like skimming the surface, just like they're not even connecting to the entirety of the situation. People are just like little peons existing as some little minute part of an entire functional system that's been being built for hundreds and even thousands of years. You know what I mean? Like, to respect your history is to like respect your place in history. You know what I mean? Like, to understand your place in history and be able to function at a higher level within this system that we've been building for so long. You know, for you to just ignore history and then just barely function as part of this whole system, it's like you're doing yourself a disservice. You know what I mean? It just, for a number of reasons, I think people, like, a lot of these people that take it all for granted, modernized people, you know, that just, you know, oh yeah, just whatever, just act like it all just exists without, you know, there being a whole history behind it. I feel like they really should take the time to learn history, respect history, for one, so they can be better custodians to past, present, future. You know, they can help facilitate, you know, the human progress. You know, the continual growth. It's a continual management of this like multi-generational project, basically, of building out this infrastructure upon, you know, the surface of this planet. You know, what's the word for that? Just developing, you know, systems, infrastructure here on planet Earth, you know, working in conjunction with the natural systems that are here. The more people understand even natural history, and like, you know, then just really you could even understand like a lot of the industrial revolution. That's book number 2. But like, a lot of people just invented stuff and they just went, like, you know, full steam ahead with it. Pun intended there. But and they didn't think about like the environmental consequences sometimes. And a lot of times, you know, if you understand like economics, political stuff, like just business in general, you know, a lot of times there's individual players that are all just, you know, pro profit, and a lot of them doing whatever they feel like they need to do to make money. But a lot of those people doing the kind of the same thing, same toxic things, you know, all together. You know, it's like a big major burden to the natural situation. And you can see kind of how a lot of the stuff came about. Just a lot of it's driven by business. And you can look at that and say, maybe we could do that a better way. Maybe that was a bad idea. Just go full steam ahead with new technology that just, you know, you end up being kind of destructive. Stuff like that, you know. It's just a matter of, you know, being a better custodian to the present situation, which is a continuation of the past. It's like it's a current management of a multi-generational project, you know, and helping manage the current growth going forward. You know what I mean? Like, if you can't grasp the history of like the entire project or a company or something, like if you don't understand the full parameters of that project, then how can you be a suitable manager for that project going forward? You know what I mean? Like, if you're like the CEO of a company, you got to understand the origins of that company, its mission, like the direction it's taken to get where it is now, and kind of have a sense of where it's going, and then just help guide it into a good direction. You know, you can kind of understand the trajectory that's on and maybe alter it a bit if you need to. It's the same thing with this whole human like infrastructure project, you know, for the whole world, with governments, like I said, shipping channels, commerce, ideas, new technology, inventions going around, industrial production, you know, just the whole system. That's what it is, like a big old system that humans have created upon the already existing natural infrastructure. You know what I mean? it's just like you have to respect it to even be able to, be considered, for I guess a leadership role. You know what I mean? If you don't, if you're not a custodian to the past, then you are in no way, shape, or form fit to be custodian for the future. You know what I mean? Like, you got to understand the full parameters of the system. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, I've had an idea for a while. Haven't really gone on with it, but like just this book right here. The front of it has the authors, where they at. They have their pictures and stuff. A lot of them are like PhDs from. Got their PhD in the 50s. Where is it? Oh, right there, like first page. About the authors. Receives a PhD from Yale University in 1954. PhD from Yale 1968. These guys have been around. Personally seen a lot of change. Got their PhDs in history. I had this idea, like I wanted to create kind of like a podcast, maybe kind of just do interviews with intellectual people, both historians, like technologists, people that are like on the forefront of science, technology, human development, and then kind of just discuss the whole situation with them. You know what I mean? Almost as consultants of sorts for the entire human project. You know what I mean? So you get a historian's perspective. They see where it all came from and kind of get a sense of that trajectory of where it's going. And then you could talk to like, futurists who are so like gung-ho about future technology, this and that. And then you can kind of connect the two worlds. You can, ask a historian where he thinks it's going, where he thinks it should go. You can ask a futurist where, if he kind of understands where it's coming from, and really had, and just kind of connect the worlds, get a bigger worldview, while talking to these people that are kind of maybe more niched in any given discipline, but I think most people are kind of generalists. But that's the idea of what I wanted to do, was create a podcast or an interview format type thing, or discussion format, where we're talking to people who are maybe more concentrated with I don't know, history, this or that, and try to connect the worlds to create like a bigger understanding and respect of the collective human project, to give people a better understanding of like a complete worldview. I don't think it's I don't know if I'll do that. I've been thinking about it for a while. I would like to talk to a lot of these people personally, and like just filling gaps in my understanding of history, what's been going on, and what's currently going on, where current ongoings are projected to take us. I would just like that personally. It just seems like that'd be fun to talk to people about, so I might get around to it, but it's been an idea for a while. It's just everybody started doing I don't know. I should probably do it. I think it'll be good content, and it'll help create that worldview, that I'm talking about, understanding the entire human infrastructure project, if that's what you want to call it, that's been ongoing for at least, like, really, it really, like, pun intended, it went full steam ahead during the Industrial Revolution, but before that, it's still ongoing for like a couple thousand years at this point. Yeah, definitely when the Industrial Revolution came about, technology just started. We started going crazy. That's only like, that's not even that long, really. It's probably like, really, we could say it's post Civil War in the United States. That's like 150 years. It's not even long at all. I think people need that. I really do. And I mean, this video where I'm just kind of discussing history and its importance, I think is at least a precursor to that. But maybe the discussion format that I'm talking about can be an expansion of these same ideas. Now you have to have a sense of the whole human infrastructure project. That's what we'll call it for now. To be able to manage it going forward, you have to understand the full scope of what's been going on, what's currently going on, to understand where it should go to help manage it forward. Now I think that's just something that each generation will have to do. That's a proper education. I feel like it's pretty straightforward in my opinion. I don't think education is comprehensive enough sometimes. It's just like these random little subjects. It's like, no, like help people get a full understanding of the whole like human endeavor. That's another thing I call it. But really like this human infrastructure project that's been ongoing for centuries now. So that they can better apply themselves, to this endeavor. And just be better custodians to the past, present, and future. You know what I mean? It's just like that's the proper education that people need to continue this human endeavor. Like it's just, I mean, it's pretty obvious when you think about it. You have to understand this human endeavor in its totality to continue it forward. It's just like that's like it almost seems like it's like duh when you think about it. That's basically what it is, and that's why history is important. I mean, that's like a proper education right there. If you want to be a CEO of a company, you better learn about that company, understand its whole functionality, its mission, everything. Same thing for planet Earth, and really, it's more of a democratically run thing. We're all like these individual components, like contributing to this human infrastructure project. And so if we all have a general conceptualization of it, kind of in its totality, we can all apply ourselves better to help move it forward in a positive, intelligent way. You know what I mean? All right, well, that's all I got to say for now. Hope you get it. I'm planting some seeds in your mind and helping you connect to the historical roots of our society, our civilization, of our human infrastructure project, of this human endeavor. Honestly, I mean, that's going all the way back to like human history before it was even recorded. And yeah, man, I just hope I can help people appreciate that, to be better custodians of the past, present, and future. That's really what at least the hope for this single kind of introductory video is. Like I said, I might expand, go, with a conversational format with, experts of various disciplines. But it's all to create a bigger worldview of the collective project, to kind of deliver that, proper education that I think is critical for people to have, to manage this whole situation going forward. So, all right, that's all I gotta say for now. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna get into it, do my thing. That's what I like to do. I love it, man. I love learning. I love to be kind of on top of the whole situation, understand it. I'm like, cool, and I feel better. I feel like I can like more like properly apply myself toward a positive outcome for for the human infrastructure project. I just like to do that. I like to know what I'm working as part of, what I'm working for, and what I'm working toward. That bird likes to jump in the middle of all that. I love it, man. I love learning history. I love getting a sense of it all, and understanding the trajectory, and then kind of seeing, okay, maybe we should shift it that way a little bit. It's pretty basic, man. And I just kind of want to share that perspective because I know it's going to be, that's a proper education. It's going to be critical for every future generation. It's the proper way to do it to help, guide our species forward intelligently. You know what I mean? We could just do what a lot of people did in the past, just kind of, just every individual just doing random stuff, and you just get this random outcome, but we're all intelligently, conscious of the previous, of the ongoings, then we can consciously, move forward in a positive direction. So that's really the idea of it all. That's what I'm trying to convey right now. Like I said, I'll probably expand in a conversationalist format. Maybe. I'm thinking about it. But at least this video hopefully is sufficient to give you an idea of what I consider a proper education that I think is truly necessary for not only people right now, the current generation, but every successive generation going forward, to get a grasp of the whole human infrastructure project, to be better custodians of the past, present, and future, help the whole situation move forward in a positive, cohesive, intelligent manner. You know what I mean? That's the goal. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, help people, that's the goal with this video. Whatever, you got it, hopefully. All right, that's all I gotta say for now. I'm gonna leave it at that. Hope you enjoyed this video. Watch some other videos. I'll be expanding on different things, trying to create that, bigger, I guess you could say, worldview, and so trying to deliver that proper education, because I just love learning. I like it. I feel like I'm on top of it. I'm like, cool, I see what we're doing, where we're going. I can apply myself in a functional way to really help, like to kind of know that I'm applying myself in a way that's helping mankind move forward. If you don't have a sense of direction, you think you're going forward, but you might be going like sideways. You have to have a sense of direction, really, and that's what history helps. History, an understanding of the full human endeavor helps you gain, So yeah, I hope at least through this video you see the importance of history, and to me it just feels good. It feels right. It feels like I really have a sense of direction, and I can actually knowingly apply myself in a positive direction. It's a good feeling. I highly suggest it. I highly recommend it. All right, that's all I gotta say for now. I'm gonna leave this video at that. It's been a pretty long video, so I'm gonna cut it and be on the lookout for any other videos. I want to do the conversationalist thing. Maybe I'm just not sure about how to go about doing it yet, but I might get around to it. Otherwise, I already got a lot of other videos talking about a lot of things. I learn a lot. I kind of paraphrase things I've learned and try to break it down to simple form, just to help people, help people gain that proper education. All right, that's all I gotta say for now. I'll talk to you later. God bless you. Peace out.